All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
To Your Eternity, Season 1, Episode 20, the finale.
The finale of Season 1. And I believe this show actually has a Season 2 already confirmed.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
finale of the show, but the final arc has already been resolved.
Right, so we're going to be kind of doing a transition of sorts, maybe the start of a new arc, or maybe kind of wrapping a couple bit of the looser plot lines from the previous arc up here, and maybe just pointing things in a bit of a direction as to, does Fushi even involve himself in, like, any human stuff?
Right.
In the immediate sense here.
And maybe give that final direction so that way people can know what to look forward to in Season 2.
Right, yeah, exactly. And given that he's spent a lot more time recently with the being, I expect a lot of that to be the focus point of this episode's final moments.
Yeah,
so that we can have him
that'd
be
be great.
the additional vessel of that direction. But all that being said, we're off the island.
We are.
Said goodbye. And, what's up for Fushi? We have Hayase looming in the background.
She has been sent off, properly rejected, and also accepted by one of the knockers.
Yeah, and given that there are still things that our editor has kindly blurred out of the OP,
Right.
I'm like, what in the ever-loving... What is still potentially a spoiler...
Watch this.
That might still be blurred before this episode. It's going to be revealed here, you know?
It's going to be like that final episode of Slime Season 1 or the OVA or whatever it was, where it's just like, all right, you had that, and now we're just going to recontextualize a whole bunch of things, introduce this whole new story.
Introduce a whole new, villain or something, introduce a whole new, character dynamic or something like that.
I have no idea.
Fushi gets a form, right at the last second. You know?
Sure.
Something like that. But yeah, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Alright everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. Alright, okay. We got ourselves a really heartwarming episode, a really sad episode, but also a really sweet and simple episode.
Right, as far as, when the arc seemed to be resolving, in the previous episode, I was kind of like, wait, What's the deal? What's going to happen? And how do you make it so that the episode feels like a good place to leave off at, right?
Yeah, and that it slightly continues off of the previous arc. It transitions into whatever's next, but it also sets the stage for whatever that new arc will be afterwards.
Right, setting it up without feeling like it's actually leading into it, because then it,
Yes.
You don't want it to feel like you're ending the show
at a beginning
point. The season right when the new arc's beginning. Yeah,
exactly.
So it's more of just, okay, we focus on Pioran and Fushi, and then we do get the time skip, right?
Yep.
Decades pass.
Decades.
Yeah. New cast,
Yeah, Fushi looked 30 years older. He looked like he was in his 40s.
Yep.
That's what I would put him at. I would put him at high 40s, I would say.
Yeah, I could, because of anime ambiguity, I could maybe see him being in his mid to late 20s, and it's just that he did some transformations,
they
in
said
the
several
time skip.
decades past.
No, right, but he did some transformations in the middle of the time skip, since we know that he only ages when he stays in the one form for the whole time.
Oh,
because when he was with Gugu, and there was the 4 years, and then he transformed and then transformed back, he was younger again. But cool.
Sense, yeah.
It's a good look for him, I would say. And
particularly it makes me excited for the series moving forward, because I don't really feel like you have to have the story be a thing where the main character looks like a kid necessarily.
Nope.
I think in a lot of ways there's something really potentially more engaging, if you will, if a lot of people in the society that Fushi will bump into every once in a while, where they see him and they go, oh, you're an adult, so we're going to expect certain human things from you that we wouldn't have expected from, March or Fushi, the younger version, or what have you, or any of the kids from the island.
And Fushi has grown up.
I feel like he has grown up.
This death, March, Gugu, and now Pioran, I feel like all of them played an important part in a checkpoint, if you will, for Fushi's development, because, with March, it's the whole mother figure, and Gugu, the older brother. But now it's the thing of Fushi is is grown. It's not just that time has passed and his body is that of an adult. He is an adult, right?
Yep.
He had to deal with not just someone very close to him dying, but them also slowly losing themselves as they go into dementia and everything, and caring for them, and that'll grow you up real quick.
Yeah, that's really tough. I know many people who have had to deal with this exact same thing, and the really most traumatizing part of it is when they actually like, not just they forget who you are, because in some level you can distance the pain because it's now, oh, they don't know who you are, but when they know who you are, but they really, really get angry at you for the smallest little things. So the way they focused on that, this person did, like the creator for this did some research on some of the things that are really painful to experience when someone is going through dementia, and how they'll actually ask you like to kill them then. Like that.
Well, yeah, because I mean, like, imagine how, like, there's imagining how hard that must be to deal with it, right? But then what happens if you're the person where you know that that's happening to you, right? And you might not know to crazy amounts of detail, right? But you get that sense, you know that you are losing yourself,
and
right?
everyone else is burdened by you in this manner because they want to take care of you and they want you in their life.
But at the same time, yeah, and like when she mentioned that, like, oh, I'm sneaking away because the Yanome are gonna show up. If she really believed that, wouldn't she have told Fushi? There's a part of me that thinks that maybe she was trying to just go away and die there. You know?
Who knows? Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But
Pioran represents, like you were saying, that final bit of childhood connection.
Right.
It's being severed here. And I like that in some ways this was the final character to die that we really care about. Pioran is one of those characters that's been up and down and all over the place. She's been through all the arcs, really.
Yep.
And thus, having things bookend back at the beginning by having a one little single off episode, much like the very beginning of the show.
Sure.
Where,
good point.
We have our little traveling duo here, just trying to survive, doing what they can.
And Fushi needing to also observe the slow death of the one person in his life. You know, because like when Pioran like fell off, or I don't know if she actually fell off of her donkey, but like when she
kind of like
slumped over, and it's like, okay, she's not doing well, right?
Yeah.
I thought that's where she was gonna die, right?
Me too.
You know, that it was like the rigors of the road, you know, travel and things like that. You know, it's just eventually she gave out. She was a stubborn grandma, so she was putting a good face on it right up until that point. But eventually, it's just their time to go.
Right.
And they didn't do that.
They didn't do that, no.
And this is, like, a lot of the deaths that have happened in this show, especially March and Gugu, I feel like the creator does a good amount of, like, knife twisting.
Yes.
You know, right?
Definitely with March.
Yeah. Sometimes almost too much, I feel like, right?
Sure.
But this one was one where I feel like it felt very natural, it made sense, and yet it still has the effect of twisting the knife, right?
Right. There was almost this aspect of the idea of, instead of it being something where the environment was actively working against them here, this was the inevitability of human mortality.
This is what you're not.
Right. So the idea of having this death not come from the knockers exacerbating her physical, limitations and then causing her to hurt her back and then she dies or what have you.
Right.
This was the slow burnout death of, well, human life is a wonderful thing.
Yep.
You are vitalized from birth with this youthful just rush of energy, and then from that point it hits its apex and slowly tapers off slowly.
Right.
Like, I mean, really slowly. So the fact that even in this instance here, they spent a lot of time together avoiding the knockers.
Yep. They got a system, it worked.
Yeah, we don't even really know how much time it was. They did show there was a little bit of time. It was like a month or what have you. But they could have gone for much longer than that, and showing that, well, yeah, she's 90. She's kicking ass. She's doing great.
Yep.
Physically, she should have no problem going for another 5 years, right? Well, no, her brain is also aging too. And this is a wonderful thing to bring up, is that while this show was very very melodramatic at times in some arcs, there's also parts where it gets really philosophical about the idea of life being this beautiful, sacred thing, but it is fleeting.
Yes.
You never know when you're going to lose a best friend. You never know when, death is going to come for you and yours. It's inevitable. It's not something you should try to pretend doesn't exist. You should
Right.
accept it and embrace it.
I love that moment
she
when
did that.
Yeah, she did. And
Yeah.
and I really liked when Fushi was like getting mad at the being, right?
Right.
He's like, "Come on."
Yeah,
You
don't
know?
say that.
Yeah, don't say that. And
She's
he's
not
like-
going to die.
He's like, "No, this happens to everybody. She's not special or anything like
Right.
that."
She's not like you. Yeah.
Right. One of the things that I remember we talked, like we were theorizing about it at the beginning of the show, is that maybe we
okay.
would see something where we would like follow Fushi as he like interacts with a certain person or a group of people,
Right.
and then all the way through their lifespan, right?
Right.
And we didn't get that, but we got something very similar to that, right? Because we got people that were at different stages in life, and then see them grow old and or see them die,
See
right?
them die, yeah.
But then, so I feel like it's very poetic that at the end we finish it off with the one that isn't, based on them getting killed. It's just the cycle of life has run its course.
Sure.
And now we can go through a time skip because Fushi has really seen what a human life is,
Right.
And so now we can basically, soft reboot the show, and then get introduced to a whole new world. Maybe he'll see Rain at some point, and she'll be like much older, right?
Yeah.
However much time has passed.
Sure.
But we don't have to, right?
Yeah, I'm the only really loose end thing, of course, was kind of post on for like 30 seconds or what have you, was Hayase getting to the shore, definitely, and then, getting helped a little bit, but then obviously killing that guy.
Yep.
That's its own thing. It's more just okay, cool, next season that can be a thing. But for this episode to basically focus on just the fact that Fushi, in order to finally finish the growing up stage here, you need to accept that people are going to die, and there is nothing you can do to stop that.
Right.
And while you are immortal, and while you can then form a connection with them and have their memories and experiences live on with you,
Sure.
that person is going to die still. And that's something that is going to be lonely at times.
Yeah.
But if you do what you did while you knew that she was dying, smile in spite of that.
Right. You don't have to basically put your own life on hold just because you're afraid of hurting other people around you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still live your life with them. I loved the simple wholesomeness of him not wanting to say goodbye because he's lonely, but also not wanting to leave on a sour note, so he keeps giving her good things. And
right, because because on the one hand, it's taking a lot of time for like potentially just a gag, right?
But it's
But on
not.
the other hand,
Yeah.
it's because he is truly internally conflicted, and both things. He's trying to act in opposition to his own desires because he believes I shouldn't be around Pioran because she'll die, right? Yeah. That's what happened with Gugu. It kind of traumatized him, so I don't want to do that. But I do really want to be with her, right?
And she wants to be with you. Let her make that choice. If
Yeah.
you both want this, do it. I love the way in which when she's like, wait, who's there? She's been getting gifts from him for days now.
Yeah.
She knows he's been watching her. She just never, actually catches him.
And, she does need to make sure that it's not someone that's going to want to kill her and take her stuff or something like that.
True.
Because she can still bust out the whoop ass if she needs to.
That's true.
Yeah.
She's badass old granny.
That's right.
But I loved the way in which she kind of shows us that, if anything, this lesson is something that can be learned. She asks the being, hey, take me now. But bring me back as something that can be helpful to Fushi. And it's like, oh.
And it seemed like that she was brought back as the paper. Like updates to his memory or whatever, so that she could basically give him a final message or something.
So I have a couple of theories here. First theory is we haven't seen her yet. We haven't seen what she's going to be reborn as, right?
Okay, sure.
That's my first theory. Second theory is that the thing that she isn't really like important. It's just the idea that she's become the sphere, and at some point, at some time, or what have you, in the distant future, she's going to get that stimulation, and she's going to do the same thing that Fushi did.
Sure.
But if she was the paper, I don't really feel like that was communicated well enough.
Yeah,
I think what it might be is more that the paper is something that she also did in her final moments. And that's just a weird adaptation choice.
Right.
She did actually leave a letter for him.
But at the same time, it was not a letter that, like, she just left out in the open.
Well, we just didn't see it.
Well, no. Because when Fushi got it, it was because he conjured up more paper to write down stuff for the day. And and the paper already had Pioran's writing on it. So if that's the case, that makes me think that, like, maybe the explanation where it's not that she is that actual paper that was, like, downloaded into Fushi's, like, memory bank of stuff is that maybe she, like, wrote the letter before she died and then burned it. But given how... And theoretically, she could have done that a while before she died, you know?
Totally.
But that's... Yeah, like, it's one of those things where the fact that Fushi accidentally conjured it, right? Like, not knowing that it had this writing on it.
Yeah.
Confused me a little bit, but,
okay, so you know. So the other reason why I think the paper could be something, this is my other theory about what the paper is specifically, is that the paper doesn't have to be something that she wrote when she was dying because she had dementia. So in order for her to have written it, it had to come before dementia. So what might have happened is that Fushi wrote a bunch of things, but there were probably times where he, like, was writing a thing and then took a nap, and she, like, added something to it. She added her own note to it.
Sure.
And then he ends up, you know, getting the stimulation from it. But, you know, does the point of the stimulation of when it happened then have to be at the exact moment when he destroys it, or his memory of it, or...
Right, I'm guessing it's the actual thing when he destroys it, you know, regardless of what he thinks it is. But, yeah, like... the initial thought that I had is that she was going to be reborn as her younger self, and that she just wouldn't have any memories or whatever, but she'd be a new person. But then it didn't seem like that was going to happen because...
Okay.
Yeah.
But he did say you will not come back as your normal self.
Right, exactly.
So once she was shown there, that was more of the thing of, I thought, her walking in paradise. She had regained what was lost.
Right, she had been made whole again, basically. Yeah.
And he's basically like, I will get you before you go to paradise. So she was almost enjoying the pre-paradise, just like, I'm young again, I'm a spirit, I'm a whatever. And he's like, oh, you still want to do this? Here's my hand. She reaches out. She's like, yeah. And
the orb thing and all that.
Right, but all that life or what have you, she, like, it was, like, almost drained into it. Like, she aged back up again.
That was one of the things that I also thought was kind of odd. Is it something where he was basically emptying her vessel so that she could be reborn as something new that's separate? Or was it something where it's like, I'm going to save who you are now and who you have been, so that, like, if you are getting infused into this item that's going to then get thrown out there, you'll still have, like, memories of your previous self. But it seems like he said something that was saying that specifically wouldn't happen. So I'm not sure about the visual. Yeah,
the visual stuff was more for the spectacle. I think it might have been a transaction. It might have been in exchange for this, you will have to have all this be enervated. Like, it's going to be it's just going to be burnt away.
Oh, hold on.
What?
So,
it's an easier explanation? You just found one?
If the entity is what Fushi is...
Okay.
Because he doesn't have to be. He could totally be something else, and he just is able to create the things. He's taking her forms.
Yes!
So it's the give me what you are, right? And I'll set you up
again.
Yeah.
Wow, I think you're right.
And that's some maybe
that makes
something
a lot of sense. Yeah.
Where then it's more of because finales can be tricky, and you generally don't want to add new information into finales. And if you do, you want it to be very crisp and clear of what it is you're introducing.
Well, especially because this is not a strict finale. This is an anime finale, which means it's, you know, it has to be an adaptation.
It's a season finale, right? But, you know, generally you want it, if it's mysterious, you want it to be very obvious that it's supposed to be mysterious, and, you know, and things like that. And for a resolution like this, theoretically, it could go into some, you know, off-the-wall territory like what we talked about. But if it's the thing of just, confirming that the being is also an orb person or something like that. And
just the original one or what have you.
Although I guess that might not actually make sense now that I think about it, because Fushi doesn't ever, like, conjure his orb into his hand or anything like that.
No, I don't think...
He was the orb, so...
Again, that's the thing. I don't think this being is... on even close to a similar level as Fushi. Fushi is so young. This being could be millions and billions of years old.
Well, not like, is it more advanced, but, like, did it start with the same thing, or is
but that's kind of like asking, did, you know, if God exists, did God, you know, get created by something, or, like, is this being just another cog in the force of nature and it was propagated by random chance? And
well, no, yeah, no, I would say that's a pretty good comparison. Yeah, is it something where this is an orb that took on a bunch of stuff and has been around for thousands or millions of years or whatever?
Sure.
Or is it something where it is a supernatural being that is capable of just making orbs?
Yeah. We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah. But it was a cool world building thing to show him making another orb, because it is in my opinion, a reinforcement to the idea that this being has been doing this for a while, but not all these orb makings are successful.
Right.
Some of them end up fizzling out and going nowhere.
Sure.
Or some of them end up getting absorbed by this knocker problem that's been around for a really long time.
Right.
And he's, he can't literally solve everything, So
yeah.
I'm excited for the potential Pioran 2.0 and Fushi reunion in the
whatever
distant future,
like,
or whatever that looks like. But having now the story very much take a Saga 1 complete, Saga 2 begins now.
Right.
Perfect. Thinking about the season overall, it is really tough to think about season 2 with as much expectation as I would have liked, because of the previous
last arc. Yeah.
But my big thing that I'm still hopeful for is that the integrity of Fushi as a character will continue to be explored. Like the potential of his character in this story has so many ways that it can still move forward, because this is a show about memories. So that means every memory is both equally valuable and equally, able to be moved past from. Something that, while he can bring up the forms of the children, they're just in the medley of cast of forms that we knew he would eventually end up getting over the course of time.
Right, they aren't necessarily all going to be of the same level of importance to him. There's a reason why the ones in the OP did not have those three. Yeah.
Well,
the forms that were shown in the OP. The ones that you can take.
Right. At the very end of the OP.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
But all right.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, this was a show that I did not expect to go this way. First episode very much has kind of thrown me still for a loop, going back to it and looking at it and being like, I'm really curious to think about, like, what would have happened if we stuck a little bit closer to what that show was. And while we did kind of almost come full circle with another orb potentially being, created and brought into things here, and a slow, like we were saying, death for Pioran, having the next arc be with Fushi being an adult,
that'll be a fun twist on things. Yeah,
that could be a really interesting twist on things.
Yeah.
But all right, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. Thank you for watching our reaction and discussions for the show as a whole. If you want to see the next show that we end up choosing, well, at the time we recorded this, the two shows that were hot at each other's heels were kind of too close to call at this point. So
who knows?
Who knows what the next show is going to be, other than it's probably going to be one of those two shows, but I don't want to speak those out just now in case of a crazy upset.
Yep.
But yeah, if you want to see that first episode's reaction and discussion right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access. You can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.